Speaker of the House of Representatives, and that is Mike Johnson is with us. The magic number 217, Mr. Speaker, this is the test vote. You have 9 members that have not voted at this point. You have 4 nays. You can only afford 3. Bring us behind the scenes. I'm sure a lot of discussions are going on. What's happening?
Yeah, Chad Pergram's got it right as usual, except there's no cracking of skulls, Sean. This is part of the process. We are tying up some loose ends. We had a Senate bill that was sent over that was modified from the House version. We liked the House version better. There's no surprise about that. And we had reached a very delicate balance on it. So it's taken a little while to go through the changes, to have everybody fully process that and figure out what that means for them in their districts. And that's part of the process. So no huge pressure here. We're allowing these conversations to continue. Chad was right. I might keep it open a little while because I have, among those no votes, I've got a couple of folks that are actually off-site right now, had to attend to family affairs or events this evening, and so some of them are on the way back. And in a couple of others, we're having still some conversations. So I want to say this. President Trump is the consummate deal maker. He's the greatest one of all time. He brought in different groups of members to the White House today. He was fully engaged in the process. Vice President J.D. Vance as well. I mean, they have been the partners in this. We're all in it together, and it is a one-team approach, and I'm absolutely confident we are going to land this plane and deliver for the American people.
You know, Mr. Speaker, I've talked to the White House numerous times today, people within the White House, and I was told very clearly that the president is very engaged, and he has been very, very explicit and very clear that this is not the end. This is just the first step. And you put on X today a list of all of the things that this accomplishes. Sure, I understand. A lot of the complaints about the changes in the Senate bill. I can only tell you, having been up all night, 2 nights ago, as this was all going on, at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., they didn't have the votes. And they just kept working at it, and they did not know where Lisa Murkowski was going to vote until about 8:30 in the morning, and then they were able to get to final passage. I agree with your approach, too. I think these should be conversations. I think, generally speaking, I would imagine that most Republicans like the idea of the biggest tax cut in history. I would think they like the idea of standing up for working men and women with the provisions, no tax on tips and overtime. I think they see a emergency at our southern border, that the Democrats left a mess there. I think they see the importance of taking on a neglected Department of Defense and building the big Iron Dome, or Golden Dome, as the president calls it. I think they see the importance of reforming education. I think they see the importance of energy dominance. So there's a lot of good in there. And by the way, some of the changes the Senate made, it really ticks me off, to be honest. But having been awake all that night and talking to senators all night, I knew that was the only bill that they were going to pass. There's no way this bill can go back to the Senate and they would make the changes and that there would be an agreement between the 2 chambers. At this point, I don't see that part.
Yeah, that's right. We want to avoid a ping-pong scenario where it goes back and forth between the chambers, because then your chances of success are diminished. And so we believe we can get everybody to yes. We've got to get the final questions answered. The White House has been very helpful in that and fully cooperative, and that increases our chances of success here. The risk of failure is too great. All those things that you just said are included in this legislation. We call it the one big beautiful bill for a reason, because it is both. And 85% or so of the president's agenda and campaign promises are wrapped into this. We are going to deliver it, and we got to do it as soon as possible. The reason we put it on this aggressive timeline to do it by July 4th is not just so we can celebrate Independence Day and all the great things here, but we're going to get relief to the American people. Sean, this is going to be, as you and I have discussed, jet fuel to the U.S. economy. All boats are going to rise. We're going to have higher wages. We're going to have more jobs, more investment in America, more opportunity. This is the America First agenda, and every Republican in the House and the Senate understand the necessity of that and delivering it, and we're going to do just that.
Let me go to the people that have not voted yet. That's 9. And you need 1 nay vote to flip to yay, and you get to the magic number 217. You said that a number of members were driving back You called the vote late. They were at events, they were at dinner, they live in Virginia, so they're making their way back. How many members would you count in that group? And for the people that maybe are unhappy with the Senate version, which, by the way, I kind of agree with some. I agree with them on a lot of their objections. However, the good overcomes this, and the promise of the president that he's going to, through executive action and future legislation, if he makes a promise, I've known him for 30 years, he means what he says. So how many of these members are coming back, the people that have not voted? And what are the conversations like? Are they civil? Is there screaming and yelling in the, quote, cloakroom, or no?
No, we haven't had any screaming and yelling. It's been very, I think, very, very cooperative and in its nature and conciliatory. Everybody wants to get to yes. And, they were concerned about some of the amendments from the Senate, but that's the nature of this deliberative body. You have two different chambers. You have lots of different interests. And they all have to come together in the end. This is how the founders envisioned it would work. A lot of hard work behind the scenes, a lot of rolling up the sleeves and arm wrestling around the table. But at the end, everybody's on the same team, and they have to do that in an agreeable manner. That's what's been happening today. I can tell you that everybody who visited with the president was delighted by the visit. Of course, you've been in those scenarios with him all the time. He's a great host, and he loves bringing people over to the White House and having those conversations. He is deeply involved. He knows the policy. He knows exactly what we're doing with the agenda. And he can answer most of the questions the members have himself.
Is the president talking to members directly tonight?
He has been. In fact, he called me most recently about an hour ago and said, who else needs to have a discussion? I'm ready to get on the phone. And I said, Mr. President, you've done your job, and we'll do ours here. He has been fully a participant in this whole thing, and that's such a refreshing thing for members of Congress to know that you have a commander-in-chief who is so engaged like that and helping carry the ball over the line. It's really been a great working relationship. And the cabinet, we've had cabinet secretaries engaged today in conversations, answering questions in their areas. It's just an incredible team in the White House and in the Congress as well. So we are going to get this job done. Everybody will celebrate together, but the real celebration will be by the American people because they are going to see the effects of this quickly, and it's going to be a great thing for the whole country.
Mr. Speaker, how long do you plan on keeping the vote open? Chad, I think he talked about the record being over 7 hours. I'll go back to him in a minute. Are you just going to keep it open as long as it takes?
Well, I'll keep it open as long as it takes to make sure we've got everybody here and accounted for and all the questions answered. I made that commitment to my members. We're in an era of Congress where we have small margins, small majorities, and that makes it by necessity a bottom-up institution. It's not a couple leaders in a back room like the old days where, 2 or 3 people decide the agenda and it's hoisted upon everyone else and they take orders and follow. It really is a fully participatory deliberative body, and that means bottom-up, member-driven process. I've tried to decentralize the power of the Speaker's office so much as that is possible in our system, and I think people appreciate that. They all know their voices were heard in this, and remember, we put about 14 months of work into the production of the One Big Beautiful Bill. So a lot of time, a lot of deliberation, a lot of committee hearings and meetings, and everybody's got their voice heard, and I think it's a really important part of this.
Let's talk about the 4 nay votes that are on the board right now. I assume you've spoken to all 4 of them. What indication are you getting from them that they might be willing to switch?
Well, I have spoken to all of them, and at 3 of the 4. I'm trying to find the 4th one, but a couple of those are still waiting for some of those questions to be answered, and they're just sort of putting placeholders on the board, and I think they're open for conversation. Everybody's here in good faith. Everybody wants to get to yes. Everybody wants to deliver this agenda for the people, and we're going to give them every opportunity to do that.
All right, Mr. Speaker, we really appreciate your time, especially on this busy night for you. And I assume you're going to be drinking a lot of coffee tonight. Thank you for being with us. We go back. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.